Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm going to show you how to make a cute and quick card with just a couple supplies. I'm going to use this Stampin' Up! Filled with Happiness set, some papers, dies, and some alcohol markers. So first of all, I'm going to send a few pieces through my die cut and embossing machine. I'm going to emboss this tan piece so that it has some texture, and then I'm cutting 3 different pieces so that they're in the shape of banners. And through the magic of TV, I sent them all through my machine, and this is what is going to be kind of the base pieces of my card. And the first thing I want to do here for some detail is stamp my main image. I'm using the It's a Good Day to Have a Good Day, and I stamped it on both the white banner piece and a piece of just some extra white cardstock that I had. And then I'm going to use this matching Modern Ovals punch from Stampin' Up! To cut out just that center portion, just the main image. And I'll show you what I'm going to do here. So this matches up really nice, just punch it right out. And then my plan is to color that main image and pop it up. I'll use some dimensionals so that it has a little bit of dimension. It just adds some interest to the card. I'm going to put that right over the other piece that I already stamped. So we'll get to coloring here, and I just want to show you, I like these Spectrum Noir Tri-blend. They're alcohol markers. One marker has all 3 shades, so light, medium, and dark. It has a cap on both ends, and then it comes apart right in the middle for that middle shade, the medium shade. And how I like to use alcohol markers is I start out with the lightest shade, and I'm just going to color kind of a base coat or layer on each little area. So I'm coloring in the leaves with the lightest color of green. And if you're keen-eyed, you notice that I missed those 3 center ones, so I'll come back and do that in just a second. But then I grab the darkest shade, and I'm doing just kind of a quick flicking motion almost, just to add a little bit of darkness, kind of like shading. I'm not being too particular. It just, this little image comes together so quickly, you just, don't really overthink it. So there I went back and filled in those light, leaves with the light shade that I had missed. And I am using some medium just to kind of blend things out a little bit. You don't necessarily have to on such a small image like this, but I chose to go back and just kind of blend those to the dark and light shade together with the medium. And then I'm using this coral blend. That dull green blends and this coral blend are definitely my 2 favorite colors out of all their markers that they have. So I wanted these to kind of look like grapefruit so that it would also match my pattern paper that I'm using. So again, I'm going over all 3 of those fruit images with my light shade of coral blend, and then I'm grabbing the darkest, and I want to kind of go around where the stem would come out of the fruit. And then also, if you notice those dots, Stampin' Up! Has already kind of put those dots on to show where shading would be. So if I had chosen to not even use a darker shade, I could have just colored them all in one color and left it. It already kind of looks like there's some shading on the image just from those dots, but I chose to use my dark and kind of go over that area so it looks more shaded. And then I'm using my medium blend just to kind of blend that transition between the dark and light, just really quickly scribbling over where I went with the dark. And then lastly, back to the light. And I kind of like to go over all the whole entire surface just to really blend it out. And last but not least, I wanted to leave my citrus blossoms white, but I wanted to just kind of make them a little stand out a little bit more. So I did decide to add some glitter pen. This is a glitter brush pen from Close to My Heart. It's just like this Wink of Stella. So if you have that, you can use that for something like that. Okay, so time to assemble all my pieces. I'm using the My Sweet Petunia glue press. I absolutely love this thing. First of all, I want to glue my tan piece that is embossed. Now this has a lot of texture, so I'm going to go over it quite a bit with glue. I want to make sure that it will stick to my card base, just because there's lots of nooks and crannies to kind of get that glue stuck in. This is an A2 size card, so the base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just lining that up with my card base and then give it a good press. And then I'm going to use this kind of like peacock dark teal colored banner shape. That's going to be the first one that gets that I'm putting on here, and I wanted that to be kind of over to the left. That's just going to kind of give everything a nice dark border just to kind of ground it on the front of my card. And then for my main piece here, I just think this is such a pretty pattern with these little flowers. I love the color combinations of this one, you know, kind of that peacock and olive green and a coral, and then of course the white and light blue, just nice and springy. And then here's my main banner piece. I already put some dimensionals on, so I'm just peeling the backings off of those. That'll give a little bit of lift to this piece. It just kind of adds some interest to the card. I did take a little bit of just twine, you know, the plain brown twine, and wrap that around the top and tied it on the front. And then I'm going to center this over that floral piece of paper, and it's kind of a shame it covers up so much of that pretty paper, but I think you can see enough of it kind of peeking out from the edges. And lastly, I'm gonna get my little colored piece centered right over the front of that, and I popped that up with dimensionals. That was my point of doing a whole separate piece, was so that I could pop it up and give it a little bit of depth, a little bit of interest. I wouldn't have had to do that. You know, if you don't have the matching punch, you can totally just color that main image without doing that. But there is my mostly assembled card. Now I want to add just a little bit of embellishment, so I'm grabbing some really pretty colored pearls. These are sticky backed, so they already have the adhesive built right in on this acetate sheet. So I'm grabbing my little tool, my little gem tool, I guess, and picking up a small one and then a large one. I like to embellish in odd numbers, so I'm going to do 3 total. And then I like to also kind of go in a triangle shape, and that just adds interest. It kind of draws your eye in toward the center of the card. So there is my finished card. And just to really finish this project off, I decided to make a matching envelope. This is just a fun way to add that last little touch to the, you know, for the special touch for that person you're going to send this to. So on the outside flap of my envelope, I'm adding some more of that liquid glue. Just a little bit. I don't want to overdo it, but I also don't want this piece to come off in the mail. So then I'm lining up my decorative paper up to that folded line, not over it. I don't want to get a crease in it when I fold the, you know, close the envelope. I press it down well, and then I'm taking my sharp scissors and I'm just going to follow the edge of that envelope flap all the way around, cut this extra piece of decorative paper off. I just love this pack of paper. I like these stripes also. It's a nice, kind of a nice neutral to add to your cards and projects. So just cutting all that excess off. That's a nice big chunk I can save for a different project. And then you can see just how cute that envelope is now, and it matches the card. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Have a great rest of your day.